what is now Week in Review in World, or Inworld Week in Review, or something. The Inworld!
Hello, welcome friends everywhere watching us live and of course watching us in playback. And here we are once again doing another episode of Inworld Review, the show all about OpenSim, a virtual platform similar to Second Life, but much better. I'm here today with two very close friends. Here they are next to me. We have James Atloud, who's our tech guy. Hello, James.
Oh, hello, Thursa. Glad to be back in the saddle again.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And next to him is the lovely Pet Love. Hi, Pet Love. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great, thanks.
And it's been a while since we've done a show. The last one that should have been at the second Sunday of May, we skipped due to some real life situations.
Yeah.
But we're very glad to be back again. And our guest sitting next to me is the wonderful Shelenn Ayres of OSFest, IMA, and many other things. How are you today, Shelenn?
I am great. Thank you for inviting me to be here at Inworld Review. Hi, James, Pet Love. Thursa, you and I go way back.
That's true, yes. And it's going to be wonderful to have a nice chat with you, not only about your story of your life in OpenSim and virtual worlds in general, but also about the OSFest, which is such a great festival done every year. But before that, we're just going to get to another small tradition of the show, which is called Hypergrid Happenings. And this is where we discuss a few things that are going on in OpenSim. And I believe that James may have some music.
Oh, yes, a little bit of music. Yep,
yeah.
Here we go.
How funky is that? Yes, Hypergrid Happenings music chosen for us by James himself, the music maestro of OpenSim. And speaking of music, here's a couple of things that are happening this week. On Tuesday over on Blood Moon Grid, which is French and also a little bit Italian and Spanish and even Australia. It's a wonderful grid run by Vlad Van Helsing and his lovely wife Vanessa. You could go to the Beach Club and enjoy some wonderful music. They do it every week on a Tuesday, but this week is going to be DJ Love, and she's going to be playing all kinds of loving tunes. And this begins around 8:30 French time, which is, if you do a quick calculation, 11:30 grid time. And she'll be playing for a couple of hours. Now, that's one option by the beach. Another option, also kind of by the beach, around the same time, but totally different, is DJ Annie. And this is over on DigiWorld. It's a little Sweden. In fact, DJ Annie is Swedish. And she's going to be playing some wonderful European tracks by the pool. So you take your poison or your poolside, whichever you prefer. Both of these are happening on a Tuesday. Which are you, James? Are you a pool guy or a beach guy?
Oh, I'd have to say I'm a pool guy. I like the beach. I love walking on the beach, but if I'm going to swim, I don't like things nibbling at my toes.
How about you, Pet Love?
I love both. I'll take either one of them. Yeah, I do. Anything around the water.
You can always find a shark in a pool. This is the thing these days. You never know what you're going to find. A crocodile.
This is true. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of crocodiles and other things you may not want to find in the water, this week is HG Safari's finale. And we're doing two things. First of all, we're going to Wardenclyffe, which is the region that used to be on Littlefield Grid before Littlefield closed. And now it's on OS Grid again. and it celebrates Nikola Tesla. So it's everything about.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a
Mm-hmm.
very nice grid. It's a mixture of experience and also lots of information. And Cameron Darkstone, who built it, will be there to tell us all about it. And then after that, all bets are off when we go to Dismayland, and Spax Orion will be there. Be ready to be insulted to pieces by this revamped Dismayland, which is a fun fair where you better not be easily offended. A lot of crazy stuff happens.
It's crazy.
It's in
Totally.
pretty good taste. It's nothing terrible.
Hmm.
And that's going to be, of course, from the clubhouse here on HG Safari Grid. We leave at 12 noon grid time, and it's a 2-hour trip, an hour in each of these two places. So join us if you can for the finale, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, if you like Italian, or even if you don't like Italian, because they will help you, you can go on this word hunt, which has been organized by Tonino Lane over there by Noilab on Craft Grid. Actually, they'll help you out if you're not very good at Italian. You have to hunt for letters to form a very simple phrase, and it's just a lot of fun. You get to mix with the others and run around on Noilab, which is a wonderful, really interesting sim, Noilab 2. So that's happening on Thursday at 12 noon grid time, and it goes on for a couple of hours, and that'll be a fun thing to do. And it's also on Craft Grid, Le Molecole dell'Arte, which is the molecules of art. And this is organized by the Museum of the Metaverse, Rosanna Galvani. As you can see in the picture, you will have recognized probably, who is that? Anybody know?
Oh,
It's not Cherry, is it?
No. Second guess? Tina Bay.
I'm going to say Tina. Okay.
Right. Oh, Tina.
Yep.
There she is, with a bunch of other people, but Tina's probably the one we know best. Well, Fiona also, Fiona Simon and Chris Tower and Dako from Second Life will be joining in. This is an exhibition that's all about art, nature in particular. So that's going to be a lot of fun on Friday from 1 p.m. grid time, which is 10 o'clock at night here in Europe. So as you can see, there are lots of things happening in the hypergrid. This is just a tiny taster of the many things that are happening, and we hope to see you next time when James and I will be bringing you another episode of Hypergrid Happenings. So that being said, we come back to our wonderful guest, Shelenn. And there's so many questions that we have for you, Shelenn, today. And I hope you'll be patient with us while we ask you. I think that Pet Love has the first question for you today.
I do. Are you ready, Shelenn?
Sure.
Okay. I was wondering how you
Go
found...
at the wall, we'll see what sticks.
I was wondering, we were all wondering how you come to Second Life. How did you find it, and what excited you the most about it?
OpenSim.
OpenSim, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Can't take me anywhere.
Well, you know, that's actually a really interesting question. I got involved in 3D tech long before Second Life and OpenSim even existed. James, can you throw up that first slide?
Oh, sure.
So I started out coding in virtual reality markup language, otherwise known as VRML, from the original Web 3D consortium. I was learning from NASA and NIST projects, and that led me to this place called Cybertown, or Escape to Cybertown. And you see that up on the screen there. It's quite an interesting development for social virtual worlds. It was really the first one. And that was run by a German company named Black Sun, which is, I believe, Thursday, isn't that German for Black Sun?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So I was working at NASA at the time supporting shuttle and ISS simulation and astronaut training. So this was sort of a natural segue for me because I was supporting the visual simulation systems there. So as simulation tech sort of advanced from mainframe clusters to PC, I found 3D coding and building and creating just so interesting. and it became a personal journey for me. You may have heard of some of these other technologies, Active Worlds, Move, which was Thoreau's originally, There, which got sold to a defense contractor, World of Geneva, and then Second Life, and eventually OpenSim. And I have the same avatar name and appearance in Second Life and on mini grids like OS Grid, Kitely, and a few more. But I found a home at Metropolis, even though I don't speak German. You remember that one, Thursa?
Oh, yeah.
Metropolis,
totally.
Metaversum? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wonderful grid,
James
grid,
too.
great
Yeah.
people. So the combination of emerging technologies and the sense of a kindred community there made it feel like a home online. And I also helped out at Metro with the Army's Moses project and the start of OSCC. So after the closure of Moses and Metro, I became a grid owner and I sought out others with common goals.
That's excellent. You brought back names of grids that absolutely remind me of my first experiences too.
Yeah, totally.
Particularly the Moses, and I'd like to ask you if you know a bunch of people, but I'm going to wait till later. But thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and
go ahead.
one of the things that I would say about OpenSim, my greatest challenge within the hypergrid community is actually finding kindred spirits. So that's
No kidding.
always a quest. Yeah.
Huh.
And if I could just jump in quickly, and this is a name that Shelenn will remember, Dings Digital.
Oh,
who
yes,
is-
yes.
Yeah, he's saying hello to us from the live chat in YouTube. Of course, Dings was a member of Metropolis since way back when also.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're surrounded by old beasts. Do we feel old? No, of course
No.
we don't.
Of course not. No, it makes you feel younger, vibrant.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I used to love to get, I forget what the files were called, but you could retexture the surface of an entire sim by just applying the file to it. And oh my gosh, you could make different states, different countries, different animals. I really enjoyed that. But anyway, there it is.
All right. Well, so much we could talk about for OpenSim, but before we get along too long, I did want to talk about the Infinite Metaverse Alliance, and I'll have a link to this on the YouTube description. But this was another huge project that I always thought as being part of the fact that what was the foundation that had been supporting OpenSim development for a while?
Overt.
And Justin was running that, and then that kind of went away. Overt, that's right. Thank you. And so I saw Infinite Metaverse Alliance come along, and I just wondered if you could talk about it. It's how big is the group in the alliance, and where are the aims and goals of the program now? And I guess if you have time, talk about if others can join, and when do you tend to meet?
Sure. Well, when I talk about looking for common goals and kindred spirits, it's sort of a natural thing that those same goals led to the formation of IMA. And we started organizing with a mix of former Moses community members and Hypergrid community members that were interested in the ideal of an infinite metaverse where everyone was welcome, where we would fill gaps or offer help, and where we could provide transition continuing Moses software research to keep the tech advancing, because this was around the time that we knew that Moses lost their budget and they would be shutting down.
Okay. Yep.
But the Moses software went to Navy. It didn't come to us. It went to Navy. But so we just focused on community and continuing the software research only. And during that time, I was also sad to see Metro shut, but IMA evolved more into a group of allies from different grids, learning and helping others. So it's kind of hard to say how many we are because we don't focus on the group by numbers. We focus on what we can do to help others. We look for gaps in tech. that need filling to benefit the community. So allies include pretty much anyone who helps out with any of our projects, far more than when we began, but people always come and go in life. And I enjoy working with others, and I miss those whose legacies remain.
That's true, isn't it? Isn't that true? You know, we look back and over 10, maybe even 20 years, you have this group of friends, and some of them are no longer with us for one reason or another. But it's enriching, isn't it? Even though it's a virtual group of friends, it's as valid as any group. Wouldn't you agree, Shelenn? It's an important group.
Yeah. I agree, and being global like the hypergrid is, it also makes it sort of difficult to meet up. So most people who help out on different projects cannot meet all at once due to time zones and life in the physical world. So I meet and communicate with others that can't make the meetings as much as I can. A few of us currently meet every 2 weeks. You want to advance the slide for me, James?
Oh, sure.
And during the off weeks, I meet with others or through private conversations. So anyone can join in the fun. We do have a Discord server, but we really need somebody to run it while I'm busy working on the project. What you see here in this image is our current meeting space. That was taken a year ago when we were planning for OSFest. So IMA, in a nutshell, began as 20-something people or so, meeting once a week, getting to know each other and offering help to others. It extended into various projects over time, from helping with the early Seder farm to SceneGate viewer development, to OS server code research using virtual machines and Docker, to various Creative Commons efforts, to Echo Voice, which we're hoping to release pretty soon, and to OSFest.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I hope that answers your question.
I'm glad you brought up OSFest, because really that's incredibly interesting to us right now, because of course as you said, you're in the moment of build up to the event, which is, can you remind us of the dates?
Sure. The OSFest this year is going to be in October from the 12th through the 26th, so it'll be after Oktoberfest and before Halloween. We did what we could to try to choose time frames with the least amount of schedule conflicts on so many things that are happening around the hypergrid. But this was actually the vote. It was either August or October, and it was kind of a close vote, but the preference was October, so that's what we went with.
Yeah, good then. And it wasn't 2022. Is that the first one? Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this is the fifth one then. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But IMA got involved in 2022 after we were asked to continue the OpenSimFest tradition. They did not have one in 2021. The prior host stopped doing it in 2020. But all of that actually evolved from the original Avatar Fest. I'm not sure if you remember that activity. Avatar Fest. Yeah, that's where it all began.
And you introduced the idea of themes, didn't you, to OSFest? Is that right? What have some of the themes been that you've come up with for OSFest?
Oh, you mean well, the themes, we inherited the theme for 2022 from the OpenSimFest people. We just went with whatever they wanted. Now, as with Avatar Fest and OpenSimFest, OSFest was inspired by a common purpose to celebrate community together, no matter what role anyone has across the hypergrid, and to sort of democratize things. I think it was a good idea to say, okay, what does everyone else want? Instead of just having a committee of volunteers decide what the themes were going to be. So this year we've got a big theme vote is ongoing right now. So we'll see the result of that on June 1st.
And I think it's like 18 different options. I counted them the other day. I'm pretty sure that you're giving people many different options to choose from. You're not just saying, well, just choose between these
Right.
three, which I think is very interesting that you didn't kind of push people down any particular route, but they can really personalize their choices. It's incredible.
Right.
How you came up with that list, I don't know.
Well, the
amazing.
list actually just evolved from a normal chat, in a general chat in the OSFest Discord, and different people made different suggestions, and I just kept track of what everybody suggested, and we came up with 18. Then, that was really difficult because we're like, okay, consensus itself is hard just between two choices.
That's true.
with a lot of people.
Right.
So what I did was I said, okay, well, I'm going to write an application that does what I call ranked consensus voting. And basically, you can rank one or more or all of the 18 choices the way you want. Just drag them from the left to the right and put them in the order that you want. Then put in your email and click submit, and you voted. So the voting is still happening for anybody out there listening. You can still vote if you want to get in on it. The 18 choices, the application itself will do the math to ensure that we get a composite ranked consensus result. And it will also highlight which ones had the most support. So it kind of helps dwindle things down for us. I suspect there may be 3 to 5 themes that will be in the top. So we'll just have to wait and see what the results are going to be. It's very interesting.
Because I remember you did one with, it was jazz, wasn't it? That must have been like 2, maybe 3 years ago. It was jazz, and I do recall Luna Lunaria. She had her jazz club on the fairground, which was right. Do you remember that, James?
I sure do.
It was very beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, that was a very interesting theme, I thought, to choose jazz of all the things you could pick. And then you've done medieval and fantasy. What was it last year? Do you recall?
Well, in 2022, like I said, we inherited that fantasy medieval theme, and we just put a spin on it, the chemistry of community, and we named the regions according to those. And I had a quest designed where people were going to have to go out and learn a few things about the different elements that we had, but I didn't have time to get that done. And the blues theme, the blues and jazz era, that was the 2023 theme, and I found really interesting people like Tina Bay, who is not American, where the blues jazz era began. And she had to do her own research to come up with an interpretive exhibit, and that was super interesting for me to see that vantage point from somebody from Europe. And then 24 and 25, the community in Discord did not want to have themes. So there was pretty much a hodgepodge of creativity. Last year, there was also a lot of bridge physical life celebrations, like 20 years for the International Space Museum, 50 years for Sally Cherry, celebrating the lab work and her career, and sharing that with us and bridging some of the activities from the Virtual Business Hub into the virtual world on their SEM that they had. And we also had in 24, I believe, Hyacinth from Groovyverse had this humongous VAR SEM that they built.
Oh yeah,
So
and
right, and then you had some people from Kitely, Kim Starr and her crew. They had a whole region, and it's just so much, and it's so creative to see everything that people have. I love it every year.
I think I remember I got a wonderful Highlander outfit from 2022, and I keep using it all the time. But it has a kilt and big boots, and that's fantastic.
All
I
right.
should see you in it sometime.
Yeah. Well, another point you mentioned earlier about DJs, I want to give a shout out to Rosa Alexiev. She's
Oh,
worked
yeah.
so hard
Yep.
to help bring performers in, and we've been able to introduce performers who've never been in OpenSim to the hypergrid community from over 17 countries. Who are
fantastic.
still around today.
Yeah.
And they got their start, their debuts at OSFest. So that's a good thing. We like doing that and helping everyone just enjoy each other.
Yeah,
That's
Rosa is
awesome.
incredible. That's true.
He
Sure
is.
enough.
So let's
Yeah.
see. I think you want to.
James, did you have another question for?
No, I'm not. I'm not sure where we are in the questions.
Oh, you know what I was going to ask, Ken? Do you feel like it's been a learning curve over these 5 years? And if you would say so, and I imagine you probably will, what would you say are the biggest lessons that you've learned, Shelenn?
Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve with the various software versions, the grid architecture experiments. Getting enough volunteers is probably the biggest challenge, followed by communications after the shut of G+. You all remember G+? That was a
Oh,
social
yes.
media
Oh, my goodness.
platform that most of us used. And since it shut, outreach is the bigger challenge. There are a lot of people who have said, I totally missed OSFest. I didn't hear about it. I didn't know it was happening. So that is definitely a lesson learned. Try to find better ways to do outreach. And the OSFest calendar that we introduced last year is being remade for this year, but that we have that in mind as an easy way to do that outreach and also to schedule their own events.
Because that's a big departure from the classic situation of a festival where there's a grid and people come to the grid and they build on the grid, and so you've involved this novelty system where people's events can actually be on their own grid but still be under the umbrella of OSFest. Can you explain how that came about? How did you do that? How did you come up with this idea?
Well, one of the things that we saw in lessons learned is the hypergrid is just buggy as all get out, and
I still don't have voice.
What?
I don't have
Beg your
voice for
pardon?
lip syncs. Yeah, right.
but it is so difficult for people to move their content from the home grid onto the OSFest grid, get everything built. The permissions usually get broken. It's just all sorts of trouble for people, and we don't want this to be work. We want it to be fun. We want it to be easy for people to participate, to share whatever it is that they want to share. And so rather than requiring everybody to be on OSFest grid to celebrate, I just decided, why not just extend it? Extend it
Brilliant.
out. And so there will be some things still on the OSFest grid. Like we did last year. We had 65% of the events were on OSFest and 35% were out in other grids. And that was really good considering the late launch of the calendar. But this year we want to flip that script. We'd like to see 65% on other grids.
Oh my.
Because that way we'll have greater participation. And for example, I don't know how many of you know this, but my recent work on another project you'll see later actually identified one important fact, and that is there are more OpenSim grids on European servers than any other country in the world. And yet many of the Europeans don't even know about OSFest, and we have a fairly low rate of participation from Europe. And so by getting the word out as quickly as we can this year and doing outreach as much as we can around the world and not just to the the local people that are on OpenSimWorld or Facebook.
That really embraces the OpenSim concept. I think that's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I mean, my biggest satisfaction in all of this is really just helping the community celebrate each other and hosting sort of a reunion of sorts every year, seeing everyone enjoy old friends, making new friends along the way. I guess togetherness is just my greatest satisfaction. I mean,
That's
I'm a
awesome.
cancer survivor and I benefited from support within the hypergrid community. So this is my way of paying it forward. Despite even new health challenges, my hope in working to advance the technology to meet the needs of many others who need it will benefit. I want to see OpenStem continue on. I don't want to see it fall away like so many open source projects do. And so OSFest is really just a great way to celebrate life, whether it's your virtual life, your physical life, or both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can
So
I-
true.
Yay.
Can I ask you a
Kudos.
question about using multiple grids? Do you have what's the word, like a division of labor? To do the scheduling? Do you have like a manager from each grid who is working
No.
to manage that region? No. Okay.
No, I think it's a great idea, and I had hoped that we could do that last year. So the
Yeah.
plan this year is to do outreach to every grid that we can, and let them know about OSFest and see if they would like to champion, events happening either on their grid or if they want to set up a little exhibit with a teleport to their home grids on the OSFest grid, which some people do.
Yeah.
It would be great. But essentially the calendar itself, which I wrote the code for that, does a lot of the work.
Okay.
It's really easy. The new 24-hour calendar, when it's live, you would just get a free calendar account and pick your date and time slots when you want to have an event, whether it's on your own grid or on the OSFest grid. Events are not limited to parties or performances. You can choose your own event type like music, art, tours, readings, creative showcases, or just any sort of activity. Now, once you grab your slots, those are unavailable to others. So no one has to choose between friends having events at the same time. So it's first come, first serve. You just provide the details, title, description, image, the stream URL if you have one, and the HG or the hop address. And the software will do some validation on that because we know some people have a lot of difficulty understanding how to get around on the hypergrid. What is an HG address? What's the difference? What's a hop address?
What's a hop?
And
Right.
and even using a stream URL, we have people who are just getting into the swing of performing Inworld, whether they're DJs or they're live singers or bands or whatever. And they don't always get the stream URL right either. So you enter that information into the calendar, and then on the back end, I integrate that with our Inworld broadcast system, which worked really well last year, so that if you have a stream URL, we are simulcasting it to every region in the OSFest grid and to any other grids who picked up the remote relay. So they can actually hear what's happening in the grid 24/7, whatever's going on. So it could be an event over in Craft or an event in OS Grid, wherever it is, or DigiWorld. As long as they give us a stream URL, we'll work that in through the back end. So it becomes an actual 15-day festival for everybody, no matter what time zone they're in. And no matter what grid they're from. That's how we do it.
So if they're working on something
awesome.
and they think, I don't want to stop on doing this and go to whatever grid it may be, but I would really have liked to hear that singer or hear that person reading poetry, whatever it may be, they can still hear it. That's really unusual and a great idea. Don't you think, guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Sure.
I do have to observe though that we have all these wonderful ideas, but the layers of complexity that it puts onto the project is really something else.
Yeah,
So to see
it
that,
is.
yeah,
It has become quite a project for us, and I always need help. I always need volunteers.
mm-hmm.
But hopefully, moving a lot of the burden onto the back-end software applications that I've been writing will help us take care of that. You want to advance through some of the slides there? Just go
Well,
to the next
sure,
one.
sure. Just a second.
Um,
So next we have, okay, yep.
Okay, that is just some logos from the various projects that are still active in IMA. Go ahead to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new project we're getting ready to release. Some people already have them on their own grids. This is IMA's Hypergrid Radio. It is curated Creative Commons streams without commercials that people can use on any grid for free. We curate that and we do what we can to keep track of it. There's also a way to change the appearance of the radio from a box to a board. It has occasions that, it's like we have Memorial Weekend this weekend here in the United States. And so there is a memorial texture that you can choose in the settings and put that on there. But the interesting part of it is what you're seeing there with the radio waves on it. We're simulating those radio waves based on the sound being live coming in.
Oh, okay.
And it's also integrated on the back end to ensure that the metadata for the song title and the artist is on the board. A lot of people don't have that option in their viewer, and they'd like to see who they're listening to. This works really well for live performers because they can pipe metadata through their broadcast software, and that will show up on the radio boards.
Very nice.
So this is a fairly complex program. I believe last time I looked at 3,600 lines of code, but and most of that is on the back end. This will allow us to prevent people who like to cause a little grief by setting up a reser and resing a whole bunch of these radios at once, which would attempt to overwhelm our servers. We're taking care of the security, the rate limiting. We do all that on the back end.
Okay.
So there'll be a button on there that you can click to say support, and this actually goes to a list, a mailing list, and we'll see the call for support and give people a way to actually join IMA if they would like to continue to support this. Because if they're listening to a station and they say, oh, I heard a commercial or that station went dead, we'd like you to let us know because then we can go and check it out. So that's coming up. Like I say, it's already happening on some other grids. We just haven't made an official release. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
Well, let me ask, is that using Shoutcast as the technology behind it, or do you have another streaming tech that integrates?
Actually, on the back end, I allow IceCast, Shoutcast, and a couple of other technologies.
Okay. Nice.
Because I wrote an interface that would allow us to detect the metadata from whatever platform someone was broadcasting their radio stations on.
Very nice.
Wow. So, it has its limits because the viewer has limits. Viewer cannot stream all audio formats. So we're only checking the ones that the viewer can.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's very cool. I just wanted to read some comments that we're getting over on YouTube. Kim Starr, she says, I want a spot at the fair, going back to talking about OpenSim Fair. But she said, we're doing an event on our world for it as well. So she's combining having a spot on the
Yeah.
fair grid, plus
Excellent.
Yeah.
having something on her own grid, which is Curiosity Zone, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And she also
There's-
says she's really looking forward to it moving into the future because she says it's a great platform to tinker with all AI. And we know she's a big fan of AI, so that's perfect for her.
Yeah.
And then we also have Star, our lovely Star Ravenhurst. She says she's got a new DJ on her grid right now, who's from Second Life. And he's already got an event scheduled on her grid, and she's thinking that if it works out, maybe she can host an event for OSFest on her grid too with this new DJ. So that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that even though we're just over 4 months out before the event begins, people are already getting enthusiastic about it. And sorry, could you just remind me, how many days does the fest last for?
It is from the 12th through the 26th.
So okay, so good,
Yeah.
a full 2 weeks.
Couple of weeks, yeah. Couple of weeks.
That's excellent. Not too long, but long enough for people to kind of realize what's happening and get involved. That's really great.
Yeah, well, and the whole thing is it doesn't have to be dedicated necessarily to OSFest. Let's say you already have some date of some event that's happening on your grid during that time frame. We can send you people. All you got to do is grab a slot, and that will help us promote your event along with the others. And so anybody that's interested in the events at OSFest may see your event and say, oh, I'd like to do that. What we'd like to do for the people who host on their own grids is also provide them with a teleport gate to OSFest and some sort of banner or texture that they can put up to say they're participating in OSFest. And
awesome.
with our performers that were performing, like Therese Singer just came to mind because I saw her promo earlier today. She would perform at different grids. So if she was at DigiWorld and she knew she had a time slot booked, she would grab the slot on the OSFest calendar and put in her stream URL. And then when she was performing at another grid, she would grab that slot and put it on the calendar. So that helped performers actually get more listeners and be better known. And that's something performers always need. So OSFest sort of facilitates that for them as well.
I do have another question coming off of YouTube, and that is, would you consider somebody giving a tour of a region as being an event that they could post?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
know.
So if somebody, you built something and you'd like to showcase it, or you have a new grid and you'd like to offer people a tour to come on your grid, or even if you have an exhibit at OSFest, all right, and you want to pick a time that you're going to be in your exhibit, you need to grab a time slot so people will know that you're going to be there so they can come visit, right? So it doesn't matter if you're doing an activity like zombie hunting or you're, whatever it is you want to do. We do all sorts of crazy things in OpenSim, right? So why not? Just share the fun.
That sounds wonderful. So we've got this to look forward to in a few months' time. I know there's a festival coming up in CraftGrid. There's obviously HIE, the Hypergrid International Expo. That's coming up in November. And of course, the OSCC to follow. So really, when you look at how many different festivals, Hypergrid and not, that are coming up in the next year or so, the next 6 months or so, we have so many things to look forward to and things to prepare for. Do you ever think there's too many things happening in OpenSim? Shelenn, what's your feeling about that?
No, I don't think there's too many things happening, because the number one thing I hear from people is never can find anybody. All the regions are empty. There's nobody on the grid. People coming in from Second Life, and they're used to seeing a lot of people. They have a very high density compared to OpenSim, where we have a low density of people, but we have a high density of land and creations and art and sims that have activities happening. So when you have festivals, it raises awareness and it helps people know there are places they can go where they can meet new people and they don't feel alone. So I like to encourage participation in any time zone, any language, and to bring people together every year for this event. But it really just to raise awareness of the growing hypergrid community. We've got a growing community. We've got new grids being formed. The application, James, go ahead and advance the slide there, please.
Mm-hmm.
The application that this is last year's event calendar. The new one this year is going to look very different, but functionally it will offer the same capabilities. Go ahead, next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Thursday. I thought you'd get a kick out of this one. Michael McHugh, he did a lot of videos, but one of the things a lot of people didn't know he did was he created these giant marshmallows on a stick and these giant s'more sandwiches, and we handed those out in 2022 at our first burn party where we had the burn guys from Second Life came out and did the first burn in OpenSim. At the burn party, people would have these giant marshmallows on a stick and whacking your avatars in the face, but it was a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what it's really about. It's just about having fun. Next slide, please.
Yeah, now I see that marshmallow. I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah. And this is, I mentioned Tina Bay's interpretive exhibit about the blues jazz era. This was her artwork there. It was a very interesting exhibit. Next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
James, next slide, please.
Oh, did it not advance for you? It looks like it
didn't
moved for me. Okay, I see
not
some.
advance.
I see some domes.
Yeah, me too.
Purple sky.
Yeah.
Looks like the ocean in the background.
All right.
That's
Let me see if I can
beautiful.
just
Blue dome
refresh
with
that.
icicles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has our media on a
Okay.
prim stopped cooperating?
I don't know.
Hard
Advance
to
the slide,
believe.
please.
Okay. Now I see a green.
Okay.
Ooh, that's pretty, that green one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was from last year. I was doing some mathematical experiments with particle engines to create or simulate an aurora so that people on the dance floor could be one with the aurora, right?
Yep.
You know,
That's nice.
so, go ahead, next slide, please.
Okay. Yep. And here's the burning man. Burning.
Yeah,
event.
that's Burning Woman, actually.
Oh, burning woman. Okay.
Yes, those are my
Nice.
those are my
Those
three
women.
burning women out there.
Finally.
Aw.
Next slide, please.
Yep.
Okay, so here is what I'm working on right now, and this is what I call hyperspace, and you see all those different colored particle clouds on the map. Those correspond with the geographic areas that are on the legend on the left. You will be able to fly in to each of those particle clouds, either manually with your mouse on the cloud or through the legend. Next slide, please. So say, for instance, I chose Central Europe. And so now you see there are a maximum of 12 grids in each of these sub-hubs or particle clouds. So you can go through and pick different ones, either with the legend or flying in 3D. This does work on the phones as well, because it's using WebGL2.
Okay.
And next slide, please. So then when you click on any one of these grids, it will open up a details panel. The details panel will offer you the opportunity to get the HG address or the hop address so you can go straight to that grid. Now, the event calendar is going to be worked into this. It'll be integrated so that if somebody books a slot, that region gets highlighted and added programmatically to this hyperspace, and so then people can figure out whatever way they want to get to the region, this is just a fun way for them to do that. So, like I said, I'm going to integrate the event calendar there. And also, we found 412 grids programmatically. Some of them are live, some of them are not, and we track that information in the grid details. So in the future, people who may want to add their grid or remove their grid from this, we're happy to oblige that as well.
So the size of the spheres, those are regions or grids? Those would be grids, right?
The smaller spheres are grids. The larger sphere in the middle is a sun, so to speak. So if you click on the sun, it will back you back out of the to the plasma cloud. But I'm trying to get the globe view working so that all of these, what we did was I took the lat long of all of the various places. We pull that from the IP address of the domain server where the grid is at. And then I attempted to convert that to spherical polar coordinates. That did not work quite as well. So I had to sort of do some manual arrangement in the nebula. And so this is the nebula view. Now, when we go to the global view, all of these grids will be indicated lat long on a globe or on a flat Earth. And it gives people an idea what the concentration of which parts of the world have the most interesting grids. And some areas of the world that they didn't even know had grids will show up on these maps.
Yeah, it's always amazing. And I think it's wonderful that you've tried to spark people's imagination more than anything else, because it really is all about our imagination. And that if our imagination is sparked, then our enthusiasm is too. And that's what really causes us to be more creative. If we could combine those two substances, those two chemicals, if you like, enthusiasm and imagination, that's when really things get interesting. And it's just so important also because you're bringing down the barriers between different grids. In the past, over the years, I think we've all seen instances when there's been a little bit of tribalism situation happening on different grids, and people get upset and they think that everybody's trying to compete maybe, and they're just trying to be pushed out of OpenSim somehow. And of course, that's not the case at all, because there's lots of parallel projects happening all around us, and we should embrace that rather than try and think of it in terms of somebody stealing somebody else's thunder, because it really isn't like that at all.
Right. And even with the voting stuff, we had people who said, oh well, the Discord bot vote didn't work right for me, and I didn't get my say, and I was like, okay, fine. I like to make everybody happy if I can, and that's why I said, okay, I'm going to write this ranked consensus voting application. We'll see how that works.
So you brought up a good point, and I'd really like to emphasize this as we're getting towards the end of our time, and that is, what are the best ways that people can get hold of what's going on in OSFest? Because some people don't like different kinds of social media. So if somebody said to you, tell me the top 3 or 4 ways that they can find out what's happening in OSFest and be involved, what would you say?
Okay, so with the grid rebuild that we'll be doing this year, we'll also rebuild the website to make it easier to sign up there, to exhibit, or to set up a store on the OSFest grid.
So number 1 is the website? Is that right? Number 1 is the website?
It's not live yet. We have to rebuild all of that.
Okay, so that's coming. Okay.
All right, so that's coming, and being able to volunteer to help out or contribute in different ways. Now, the OSFest Discord server and the OSFest Facebook page are 2 ways that people do get involved, or just to keep up with what's happening. But I can be reached via DM on either of those platforms, or via Teams, which replace Skype. I'm on Teams often. We have OpenSimWorld page, we have MeWe groups, and if all else fails, send an email to opensimfest@gmail.com, and somebody is going to get that email. So a lot of times it's word of mouth, but we need to find a better way And so I'm always looking at what we can do from a tech perspective to make
So
it easier and
Sure,
less
but you've
work.
named 7 different ways that we can get hold of. So Facebook,
Right,
Discord, MeWe, Teams. Help me out, guys.
Yeah.
An
Email.
email.
Web pages. Hmm.
The web page which is
OpenSimWorld.
coming, and OpenSimWorld. So that's 7 different ways, which
Yep.
we'll try and list. I'm looking at James now.
Yep. I'm writing them down.
So that we can make sure that anybody who watches this video can find those different ways, because people are different. Some people hate Facebook and they love Discord, or they hate
Right.
both of them, or whatever.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, it's totally understandable that you do need to tap into all those different possibilities. That's
And they
really
and they can contact Shelenn or any one of us too, and we'll try to help them.
Right.
Sure
Or
thing.
Rosa.
Yeah.
Rosa,
Rosa.
you know, even if it's not about music,
Mhm.
Rosa handles all our performers, but if it's not about music, she just tells me anyway. So, you know, and I'll get
Perfect.
somebody else, you know, sometimes Harry Thor helps out from over at Bridgemere. Sometimes Sean Maloney will help out.
Mhm.
But, you know, it's just whoever has time and whoever
Absolutely.
has the bandwidth to help out.
Mhm.
We're all allies. We're, you know, sharing that common goal.
So we all have
So
until mid-October to prepare
Right.
and figure out what we're going to do, and sign up for
Make
the
it happen.
calendar, and maybe get a slot on the fairground grid, and so forth and so on. So really, first of all, I'd like to ask James, do you have any more questions for Shelenn that you wanted to ask?
Well, I do need to check. They're going to be freebies. Can it be open sim without freebies?
always, there are always freebies.
Fantastic.
How about you, Pet Love? Did you have any more questions?
About 1,000.
All right.
Now I'll look forward to seeing this develop, and I feel like saying, if there's anything I can do just as a mouth, you know, let me know.
Oh, that
I
would
will.
be great. And I just wanted to mention one thing for the people. I apologize I didn't bring a little video clip or anything, but all the years of our support for OpenSimFest and playlists from Mike Mahew's great videos,
Yeah.
all of that is on the OpenSimFest. It's called OSFest on YouTube. So you
And
can
we'll be
search
sure
for
to
that.
add that link
You can,
too.
right. You
YouTube.
send out that YouTube channel and just click on playlist, and you'll see that there are playlists from every year, and it gives you an opportunity to see who built what, and you know, who was partying, who was hunting zombies, who was doing whatever.
Fantastic. Well, we're
It
out of
is.
time now, Shelenn. So, but I really thank you so much, and I know that James and Pet Love feel the same. This has been a really interesting. The time has flown by, and
It
we've learned
has.
such a lot about your way of seeing OpenSim, and we really appreciate the fact that you've come and shared it with us today, because I think we've all feel inspired. I don't know about you, Pet Love and James, to be part of all this and you know, get busy and contribute too. And
Yeah,
I hope that
definitely.
our
Yep.
viewers feel the same. As I can see from the chat, everybody seems very peppy and happy to be, to be
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds
which
great.
is
And thank you
and
all
just
for letting me be here. But I do hope you all will participate.
we'll
at
try.
OSFest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to let our viewers know that this is actually the last show before we take the summer off. We're going to take a couple of months off, but we'll be back in September with more Inworld review shows, with more guests and more news about OpenSim. So I just like to get my co-hosts to say goodbye for the summer. Pet Love, have you any words of wisdom for our viewers?
I don't know how wise they are, but I'd like to say, don't do anything I wouldn't do.
If you can't,
Have
don't get
fun,
caught.
everybody. Right.
And
Exactly.
James.
Oh man, summer break. I can hardly wait. No, just my usual, you know, I can't emphasize enough that, you know, we're all part of tribes in some ways, but part of that is being kindred spirits, and that takes me back to my favorite word, which is kind. Be kind to each other, take care of each other, and we'll get along just fine.
Can't say better than that. Thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you in September with some more Inworld review. And until then, goodbye and be safe and be kind, as James says.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.